Everyone, let's factor by grouping. For our first problem, we are identifying the greatest common factor from the front two and the back two. I'm going to break it apart to identify those greatest common factors. Okay, so from the front two, we have two p's in both. So I can factor out p squared from both. I'm left with 2p plus 5 on the inside of the parentheses. So over here in the back two, I can pull out a 3 from both. And if I do that, I'm left with a 2p plus 5 on the inside of the parentheses there. I can pull out the group of 2p plus 5 from both, which gives me 2p plus 5 times p squared plus 3. Problem 2, go ahead and once again identify the greatest common factor from the front and the back two. And we'll do that by breaking the problem apart. Okay, so identifying the greatest common factor from the front two, we have a 5 in both, we have an n in both, and we have another n in both. So I can factor out 5n squared from both, leaving me with an n minus 2 on the inside of my parentheses here. Remember that we're trying to factor by grouping, which means we want the n minus 2 in the other parenthesis, right? We will get that by factoring out this 3 here. So factoring out the 3, left with the n minus 2, and we have a 5n squared plus 3 and 1 when we factor out the group of n minus 2 from both. All right, let's look at number 3. I'm going to group the front two and group the back two, and I am going to break it apart to identify the GCF. Okay, so breaking it apart, I see I have a 4 in the front two. I have two n's in the front two also, so I can factor out a 4n squared from both, leaving me with a 3n plus 1. Remember, with it, when we circle everything in one term, we're left with a 1 as a placeholder. And so over here, I need to factor something out of the last. Well, there's not really any common factors other than a 1, so I can pull out a 1. And that will leave me with a 3n plus 1 on the inside of the parentheses, matching this one over here. We can factor out 3n minus the 3n plus 1 from both group, and this is our final factored form right here. Okay, our last one, we're going to factor, well, second to last one, factor from this group and this one. I'm going to break everything apart to identify the GCF. Okay, so we have two separate lines here because I wasn't able to fit it, but we have 90, which is 9 times 10, and we have a 36 times 6. Let's factor out the front two, and I can take out 2 3s from the front two, and I can take out a 2, and I can also take out an A, which leaves me with I have 18 that I can pull out 3 times 3 times 2, 18A from both. And on the inside, I'm left with a 5n minus 2v. Remember, we want the same group with our second one, right? Let's see what we can factor out. We have a 5 in both. We have a 2 in both. We have an n. I'm sorry, a y in both. And we have a 3 in both. So 5 times 3 is 15 times 2 is 30. We pick out a 30y from both. And I'm going to pull out a negative from both so that my signs will match. And that enables me to factor the same group out of both, which is the 5n minus 2v. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here, and I'm going to let everyone try and figure out this last problem. This one's a little bit difficult. I would think about trying to rearrange some of these so that the groups match. Why don't you guys try that one on your own? I need to actually eat lunch and get ready for this.